If you've been on social media over the last few days, you might have seen some drama involving actress Blake Lively. Blake Lively starred in a new movie called It Ends With Us, the film adaptation of Colleen Hoover's novel with themes of love and domestic abuse at the forefront. The film follows the relationship of Lily Bloom, played by Lively in the movie, and Riley Kincaid, portrayed by Justin Baldoni.
Social media has accused Lively of trivializing the movie's theme of domestic violence in some of her press interviews.
Most of us, if we're lucky enough to run into a celebrity in public, we only have a few moments to maybe speak with you guys. But for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. This movie is going to affect people, and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you, and then we could I'm just curious about
social security number.
I'm a Virgo, so I'm like, are we talking logistics? Are we talking emotionally? Yeah, what's been beautiful about this movie is that, like, unfortunately, we all know at least someone, but we normally know like a lot more than some ones. We know some manys who have experienced this, and the beauty of this has been to see people and to see this movie alongside women who haven't experienced this. Thank goodness.
And here was her message for fans in a movie promo.
Hello, Blake Lively here.
Colleen Hoover.
And It Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
Let's listen to what Baldoni had to say about the film's message.
What was the why for you?
The why was that if a Lily Bloom in real life can sit in this theater and maybe make a different choice for herself than was made for her, maybe she sees herself on that screen and she leaves the theater and chooses something different for herself. That's why I made the movie.
Reactions have been overflowing on X. Quote, watching Blake Lively be so flip and cruel about victims of domestic violence is really something. You could have just learned the names of one or two resources for DV victims and said you'd guide them to those resources. This Ends With Us press tour on behalf of Blake Lively is fundamentally disgusting and ridiculous. Thank you to Baldoni for explaining the film with the respect it deserves, from one survivor to a cast of a film about surviving. Justin Baldoni's PR team could be spinning things, but she said this on her own. Others are coming to Blake Lively's defense. So, Amber, what do you make of what's going on here?
This is interesting to me because Blake Lively has long been sort of an America's sweetheart kind of actress. Like, people have just really loved her and her relationship with Ryan Reynolds. And very quickly, the internet has turned on her in a lot of ways. I've seen a lot of clips come up on my social media. I don't know why. There they are, of her being rather rude to some interviewers in the past. One interviewer actually released an old clip that she did not put out initially because it was very embarrassing for Blake Lively and the woman that she did it with, because they looked like just two high school mean girls. Apparently this interviewer asked a question that Blake Lively didn't like, and so she talked to her co-star the entire time and ignored the interviewer and was speaking sarcastically right in front of her about the question that she had asked. And then you have this clip where she's shading the interviewer once again. And I think it's caused people to reevaluate, is Blake Lively really this sweetheart that we thought she was in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants? Or is she just sort of another Hollywood brat who is entitled to think she can behave however she wants?
People are pointing out that Baldoni and Lively are doing press for the film separately. And that indicates that there was some kind of disagreement or split. I have read some analysis about the disagreements over what the cut of the film should be, which Ryan Reynolds was a part of. Blake Lively makes, contributions to the directing of the film on top of this, and that Baldoni favored a different kind of a cut. And so was there a big fight over what should be, what should not be, and that caused them to say, you know what, we're going to do our press for the film separately. I am fascinated by it. I think there's been so much hype about this in a way that it detracts from the film altogether, and it's more so about Blake Lively Baldoni than it is about It Ends With Us.
Yeah, it reminds me of that Olivia Wilde movie with Harry Styles. Yes. I can't even remember what that was called, but Don't Worry, Darling. There was
felt like a movie.
Right.
Harry Styles.
There was all of this drama around the supposed infighting on set, and this feels similar. I'm not familiar with the book or the movie or anything, so I can't speak to what the themes are or whether or not her press tour with the floral dresses and the being very bubbly and promoting her drink brand is appropriate for the content of the film. But I do see, my suspicion at least, is that given I've never heard of Justin Baldoni before, I don't think he would have a sophisticated enough PR team to be just planting all of this negative press about Blake Lively. It seems like this is something that's happening a bit more organically as people are sort of dissecting her public interviews. But her PR team has definitely responded by trying to go after Justin Baldoni and make her sort of the savior of this whole film. There was a TMZ article that came out a couple of days ago where Blake Lively apparently felt that Justin Baldoni had fat-shamed her during a scene and kissed her too long during one of the kissing scenes. And then there's been anonymous sources saying that nobody on set liked Justin Baldoni and he was difficult to work with. So this is sort of a classic back and forth, it seems, of two Hollywood stars kind of trying to get the upper hand in the press.
Yeah, when I saw the reporting on the different cuts thing, I was like, but then they would have just said, we artistically felt we should go different directions, we feel different ways about the film, that's why we're doing our press separately. It seems like there's something more going on there, because that's like so obvious for a PR company to figure out a statement on. The problems have to be much deeper. And yeah, Blake Lively in the press tour, I will say, it's like, is she not talking about domestic abuse as much? Because she doesn't want people who maybe, as Baldoni said, would watch the film if they're in an abusive relationship and get out of it and see this as inspiration and empowering. And Blake doing the press in a way where she's not talking about it as much. Is she trying not to trigger people? But that's what the movie's about. So the press, it makes sense that it's about it as well. But she definitely is centering that narrative less. And maybe it's just a part of, she's been an actress since she was in her teens, and maybe she's been sheltered from a lot of real world problems. We know powerful women deal with domestic abuse, but I think you get some training in having tough conversations when you have coworkers that you work alongside that are going through tough stuff. When you're experiencing celebrity and a great success at a young age, I think you don't develop that muscle as much because you don't have to.
Yeah, because you're a little bit more sheltered, maybe a little more privileged. I think it would be so simple for her PR team to have prepared her some resources she could direct women to if they felt like seen by the film, and she hasn't been doing that either. Instead, she's been remarking very snarkily to people who ask questions about the film's themes, which seems unnecessary. There was, regarding this quibble about the edit, I think Justin Baldoni actually made kind of a sassy comment when asked about a follow-up to the film. I guess they're thinking about doing a sequel, where he said, yeah, maybe Blake will direct this one or something to that effect, kind of calling out the fact that he felt she had kind of taken over the creative process of the filmmaking. But one tweet that I saw that stuck out to me was a reminder that Blake Lively and Leighton Meester were never friends on the set of Gossip Girl. And Leighton Meester's pretty unproblematic. Everybody seems to like her. And now people are like, well, why weren't they friends? Was Blake Lively always sort of a mean girl? And what exactly is going on? Kind of a small potatoes thing, Hollywood drama in the midst of everything going on in the world. But I think it's fun sometimes to just kind of speculate on what all of these rich people are up to.
Yeah, whenever people are like, don't gossip. Gossiping is different when you have an agenda and you want to just like hate someone. I feel like you can talk about the human experience in a way that allows everyone to learn about it with insight and questions. And it might be very possible that Baldoni did something to Blake Lively that made her not like him, and we don't know about that, and maybe she doesn't want to talk about that because she doesn't want the film to be hurt by it. There could be a lot going on here that we don't know. Obviously there is. But from what we've seen, I think people just want Blake Lively to talk about DV more in the press tour, and if she's smart, she will take that advice.
That's what I'm getting to, and I'm just a professional celebrity hater, so these are always fun for me because it's like, oh, surprise, another celebrity sucks. Shocker.
Yeah, I blame the conditions that they're in. Not to say all celebrities are victim, but I think Hollywood's a toxic environment, and it's hard to be a good person and have a long career in Hollywood.
Especially if you start when you're young, as we've seen from all of these new exposés about child stars. Those are the ones I really feel poorly for, the ones whose parents didn't protect them from the industry. That's just devastating.
Yeah, let's see if America's sweetheart stays America's sweetheart. We'll keep following the story. That's real news. That's it. That's our last story of the day. That does it for us. It's been great being back with you, Amber.
Yeah, you too, Jess. I enjoyed it. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we are now available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Bye, y'all.